Our Villarreal series is finished. We managed to win the Champions League after 4 seasons whilst completely rebuilding the side and making them one of the best prospects in world football. After leaving the club, I've simulated 5 years to see how the team's got on, as well as some of our favourite players. I think we left them in quite a good position, both financially and in terms of the calibre of players that we had at the club, so I'm hoping this will be quite a successful one. In previous iterations of my series, when I've gone 5 years ahead, a lot of the times the club completely fail. You'll be finding out everything at the same time as me. Hopefully you all enjoy it. It shouldn't be too much of a long one. Thank you to anyone who does watch, and don't forget to hit the like button if you could. Oh, and thank you very much for 9,000 subscribers. We managed to do it, which was awesome, and now the next goal is 10k. We'll start pushing towards that, and hopefully by the start of FM23, we can be there or thereabouts. Right, let's get right into it, shall we? Like I say, we'll be finding all of this out together at the same time, but the first thing I can see is that our team is first in La Liga. It is May 31st, so that means they have won the competition, and they're now a club predicted to finish in the first position, which is awesome. The current manager at the club is Jurgen Klopp, which is a pretty good appointment. I don't know if he came in straight after I left. I remember him being favourite for the job, so it might be that he's been here the whole time. But Pau Torres is vice-captain, Bruno Fernandes still at the club as club captain, and key player Jude Bellingham. So 3 of our main stars are still here at the club. The balance doesn't look very good. Does that mean that they've spent over... Are they £271 million in debt? Surely not. I hope they're not. I mean, I can't take over and check myself because I don't have the editor in this save, just in case you guys thought I was going to cheat in the main series. Facilities are good, but I don't know what's happened with the financial situation. Hopefully that doesn't mean what I think it means. But anyway, we've only got one Champions League, which was the one that we won, but it looks like after we finished in 2025, the club has gone on to win another 4 league titles. We won 3 on the bounce. The next year after I left, they didn't win it, but then 2027, 28, 29 and 30, they have won it 4 years in a row, and they were 3rd placed in that season after we left. They did manage to win the European Super Cup after we left our job too, and they've won the Spanish Cup on 1 more occasion. It's pretty similar to what we did in the 5 years after I left. They won 1 extra league title than what I won in 4 years, but I also added a Europa League and a Champions League to that, so I think that's pretty impressive. Let's check out the manager situation. So after Unai Emery left the club, we took over. We were there for 3 years and 324 days. Jurgen Klopp has now been there for over a year longer than us. He joined a month or so after we left, and it looks like he hasn't done as well as us, an extra league title, but nowhere near the amount of cups or European success. So I'm going to take that as me being the better manager. We've got a better win percentage too. Yeah, it looks like he hopped straight from Liverpool to Villarreal to take over in, I believe, his first job in Spain, and he's done a pretty good job of it. A great appointment on their end. But let's check out how our team is doing and who's in the current squad that we recognise. Let's have a look. This goalkeeper I don't have any idea about. Let's have a look. A Brazilian youngster signed for £13 million. Looks pretty good actually. I can't check out every single attribute because I'm not manager, but to be 23, Brazil's #1, and also valued at, what was it, like 100 odd million, I think that's pretty good. Their most recent back 4 is Giancarlo Estevez, Gustavo, the centre-back that we were developing, so it's nice to see that he's considered a decent player at the club. Zagadou is still here. Mauro de la Vega, a player that I signed, also still here. A defensive midfielder, Pau Torres. I did not think we'd be seeing that, but I guess it could work. Jude Bellingham and Sandu, I don't know him. Angelo still here. They did sign Tazolis, and it looks like Matteo Marco has got his chance at the club, but maybe not really. It looks like he comes off the bench. Edouard Mendy is here. Goretzka is here. George Galen is a player that we had, of course. He is still at the club. 12 goals in his last season. He's now, 23 years of age. Playing for Spain, so we have developed a good player. I just thought he would go on to be world class, but it doesn't seem like that's been the case just yet. Koundé's still here. So is Samuel Chukwueze. Was he actually a good signing after we picked him up? Yeah, he's played pretty well actually for Villarreal since they bought him. I think that's not too bad of a deal. Bruno Fernandes, Ignacio and Kenneth Wynn is still at the club, the only name in the game player from one of you guys watching. Despite all of his potential, he's never played for Spain, so I'm going to assume his career hasn't really took off. I mean, he's been playing Villarreal B-team football. Doesn't look like it's worked out for Kenneth Wynn. He had all the talent, but I think that inconsistency that we spotted in him at the start on his coach report has probably affected the guy. They've won the league title by quite a comfortable margin this year. Their top goal scorer in the league only had 12 goals, which is a bit concerning, so I'm hoping that all the goals were spread out across the team or something, because that isn't great. And it was actually Real Sociedad who were the team that broke our dominance over the last few years. Barca and Real Madrid are beginning to fall off a little bit now. It looks like our 5 at the back formation has been put in the bin as soon as Klopp has taken over. He's playing his customary 4-3-3 formation, and Torres is now his Fabinho apparently, but I think this kind of team would work very well for what Klopp's trying to do. Some good attacking fullbacks as well there. Like I say, I think we left the club in pretty good shape and we had a lot of money left over from the sale of Yeremy Pino. Let's see how he's getting on now. He's playing for PSG. He left Manchester City then after 3 seasons, doing pretty well for them, and now he is a star at Paris Saint-Germain, which is great to see. Our young lad, now 27 years of age, a massive player for Spain too. It's good to see him getting on well. What about this youngster that we signed, Njeko Nad, who I thought was going to be the future player for our side up front? It looks like he's playing for Villarreal B. He's got a lot more talent than that, surely. I mean, he's playing for Serbia consistently, and he's smashing it for Villarreal B. He needs to be given a chance for the main team, and he was one season where he scored 10 in 26 games, only to be then relegated to the B side for the next 3 seasons. Very odd. He's still got a lot of potential, and I'm sure he still will do very well, but I'm surprised he's not somewhere in the first team. Danny Parejo, did he go on to become... I was training him up with so many coaching badges and he's decided not to be a coach after all of that. He's betrayed me, Danny Parejo. We paid for all of his coaching, man. He was like Continental Pro and he's decided to hang up his boots. What about Sergio Ramos? A terrible staff member, to be honest, even though we were sending him on staff courses as well. But let's see what happened after we left. Clearly, they decided Kepa wasn't good enough in goal and signed Edouard Mendy for £2 million. That's actually a pretty good deal. I don't know if he was signed to be the number 1. It looks like he was because he played a lot after we left, but I wonder how Kepa is getting on. Who knows? Hopefully we'll find out soon. Goretzka was signed for those midfield positions, and Christoph Tzolis also joined the club to play out wide, and that was someone that I was scouting myself, but I think as 3 players to sign, that's not a bad calibre of talent to be bringing in. Douglas Santos left the club, I would have done the same. Amine Gyouri went to Leipzig for £38 million, where he still plays today. Pierre Kalulu was also sold for £55 million to Inter, and Xavi Simons left the club to join Real Sociedad, where he probably won the league with them, I would have thought. Yeah, the year after he left, he went and won the league with Sociedad and then got sold, and now plays in the Saudi Arabian divisions of all places. The next season was quite a small transfer window. This guy joined from Sporting Gijon, Jose Gragera. I've never heard of him. At that time, he would have been a 25-year-old or so midfielder. Joined, didn't do too much, so I wouldn't put that down as a top draw signing. But who is this guy? Francesco Costa, who still plays for Villarreal now. Looks like a very good young centre-back, a decent pickup, to be honest. But clearly they deemed our centre-back talent not good enough. They did sell Benjamin Sesko to Liverpool for £75 million, and he still plays there today, so clearly they didn't see him as the long-term forward option. Danjuma also left. He went to Roma for £7 million, where he still is now. He's played a lot of football for them, and it was probably the right move. I don't think he was going to stay under my management too much longer, so that does make sense to me. Was anybody released? Let's have a look. No one of real note, so let's move on to the next season at the club, where they went to sign 2 players again. They weren't bringing in many players at all. I think we did leave them in a pretty good situation. It looks like they bought in Goncalo Estevez from Bayern Munich, who has been a big player for them over the last few years, and for the exact amount of money they paid for him, they got that back for Rosas, who they let go to AC Milan, where he still is now, and a big player for them as well. So we had some real talent on our hands. Everyone that we are selling is going to like big clubs, and we also signed Nathan from Real Madrid. Is he a regen? He's not. I have no idea who this guy is, but we've sold him since. That was a pretty poor signing, to be honest. Another right back for the club. Clearly, they've got no faith in Tariq Lamptey, who I thought was an exceptional player, but it seems odd to sell Rosas and Kalulu to bring in this kind of talent, although Estevez is a good player. The rest of it does seem a little odd. They let Caden McLaughlin go on a free transfer, though. He went to Palmeiras out in Brazil, where he is a big player for them now. 43 appearances in a recent season and one of their main stars, which is good to see that he's getting first team football. He was very impressive for us when he did get into our side. Then it was a pretty big summer, and it looks like it was caused by the sale of a youngster that I signed for £20 million, Yassin Aksoy. Again, it was Manchester City pinching one of our best young players, but we made a very healthy profit on him, 91 million, and he has been there for 1 year now and doing pretty well for them. He's a world-class midfielder at only the age of 23. I think we saw that talent there when he was a youngster, and it was definitely a good move on our end to bring him in. Our boy Kepa also left the club. He went to Sevilla, and I believe he's had a Spain cap, which was the thing that I was trying hardest to get for this guy. I just wanted him to play for Spain yet again, and it looks like he did so, because I think he was on 13 appearances when I left him last, and now he is on 15. Finally, he got those appearances, and he's been very good as well for Sevilla. I can't understand why he was dropped for Edouard Mendy when Jurgen Klopp came in, considering the form that Kepa had been in, but when he played well, and then he moved on to Sevilla, where they're rightly appreciating a man of very good talent in goal. Whatever you want to say about him, he won us a Champions League. They replaced Kepa with Stefan Bajic as the backup goalkeeping option. They spent £13 million on Matthias Wiener, a Uruguayan left-back from Bayern Munich. Seems like that's where we're getting all of our players at the minute, from Bayern. And again, a player that never really played for us. Seems like an odd signing. This does look like a good pickup though. Sandu, a young regen, for about £2.8 million. But they are seemingly buying young players, which is what I would have wanted them to do after we left, because it clearly served us so well. And they spent a load of money on Ivan Ilic, a Serbian central midfielder who I know is one of the best in Football Manager this year in terms of potential. They bought him from PSG, and I think that's a pretty nice signing. A midfield of him, Bruno Fernandes and Bellingham would be an exceptional one. We obviously played 2 centre midfielders, but Klopp does play 3, so it makes sense that he is buying a lot of midfield talent. And then from there, nothing too much else has happened, no one that we're really aware of. But our side is, for 5 years in the future, our side is mostly intact, and that isn't something that always happens. A lot of our stars are still here. Koundé's been exceptional since signing and has barely ever missed a game, so good to see him doing well. Ignacio still going strong at the age of 28, appears every now and then, and is a bit part player now for this side. Pau Torres at the age of 33 is asking to leave the club as he wants a new challenge. And it looks like after we left, he did not do so well, but it would make sense considering he was now a defensive midfielder. But I guess if Klopp decides he wants that, he can do it. But anyway, let's check out the final thing I want to have a look at, which is the favoured personnel list. So we were on the favoured personnel before, and we are still there, right at the bottom though, and Jurgen Klopp has overtaken us. He's been there a bit longer than us, but we did win a Champions League, Europa League, 3 league titles, 2 cups, and 2 Spanish cups. I'd like to see him do that in the 4 years that we were there. We also completely revolutionised the team. He inherited a very good squad, but he is quite likeable sometimes, so I can see why he would be above me. But Zagadou being above me, a player that we nearly sold on many an occasion. Edouard Mendy, Chukwueze being above me. Christos Tzolis as well. We are being disrespected here, I think. Jude Bellingham is now an icon at the club, as is Jules Koundé. Jared Moreno, that's a blast from the past. How is he doing? We was also sending him on coaching courses, and he is available as a coach, but probably not the best one. I don't think anyone will be picking him up, but he has still got me as favoured personnel. I think it's a bit weird that Xavi Simons is one of his favoured personnel because they were at the club together for 2 months, but whatever, I guess that makes sense. Bruno Fernandes and Pau Torres, though, are now legends at Villarreal. Only Santi Cazorla and Bruno are ahead of Pau Torres in the legends list. Would have been nice to see him become the legend at the club. I don't know if they ever made a new stadium. It doesn't look like they did. The attendance is pretty much what we left it at, but I would have liked them to build a new stadium and name it after me. Clearly not. They prefer to name it after Klopp by the looks of it. But overall, this is pretty successful for 5 years in the future. I think the club is doing very well. A lot of our players are still here, and they've got a good manager who doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. He's got a contract until 2032, so I'm sure they will be fine now at Villarreal. We have made them a big club, and it looks like they're going to stay there for at least the next few years. They just need to sort out their finances. They've got a load of debt and not much transfer budget. They need to get into the habit of selling players like we were. I don't know where that came from because they were never really buying more than they were selling. It looks like most seasons they were doing equal kind of business. So I don't know, someone must be on super high wages because that is a huge amount of debt. They lost £60 million this year, and that needs to be sorted out. But I'll let Jurgen Klopp deal with that. We did our job. We're still on the favoured personnel list, and I think we were a fantastic manager to Villarreal. But that wraps up the series. Like I say, thank you to anyone who supported it, and thank you to getting us to 9,000 subscribers. There'll be a channel update video fairly soon, and then we'll get into, hopefully, a new save. But do keep your eye out for that. Hopefully, there's going to be some pretty big news. But yeah, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for watching. This has been Villarreal, 5 years in the future, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.